This video is an extract from an interview where an art professional shares their top tips for artists. If you want to watch the full 1-hour interview and get insights from an expert on how to reach the next level in your career, then click the link below and join the Art Ladder Mentoring Program today. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy this video. Tonight's webinar is going to be with the one and only Sandra Higgins. She has worked in the art business for many years, first in her hometown of Chicago in the USA as an artist and art tutor, then in the UK as an arts administrator, curator, gallery owner. Today, she's based in Bath, where she has established her art advisory business, Sandra Higgins Art, and she has a very wide network of galleries, museums, artists, and she's going to tell us about her experience as a curator and art advisor. Can you tell us how you got started in the art world?
I wanted to be an artist like many people. I've been involved in art since I was 12. I got a BA in printmaking, actually, but then I went back and got my advanced degree at University of Chicago and studied at the Bauhaus and the New York School. And I found that I liked living vicariously through other artists. I was more interested in the art history than in actually the doing of the works. And then I was invited to this country. I've been here over 30 years. I was invited to this country with Darlington Institute. I was a research fellow. And then when I finished that, I was the administrator for the Delphina Studio Trust. And so I helped start up the first Delphina Studios, which was actually in Stratford. And we created a little mini gallery, and we invited 7 British artists and 3 Spanish. And we created this wonderful collective, I suppose you would call it. And so that more or less got me thinking about having my own gallery. So when I finished, I began my own gallery in Mayfair. I'm afraid probably at the wrong time, in the 1990s. And everything was going splendidly until the 1990s. So I had a gallery. At that point, I specialized, because of my background with the New York School and with the Bauhaus and Kandinsky, the things that were my real interest. I showed abstract painters and sculptors, American and British, at a time that perhaps as well it wasn't as popular as it became in the ensuing years. And so having been a little bit shocked at the art market falling apart, I then decided I would go freelance, and I have ever since, basically. I basically do what I want to do now, which is great. So sometimes it's a curatorial, sometimes I'm an agent to artists to help them break into the art world.
So you started as an artist and art tutor, then had your own gallery, and now work as a curator, art advisor, freelance. And that's taken you around the world. So what does your role as an art advisor, and I know it's very diverse, but what does that entail for the artist watching?
If I work with an artist as an advisor, I'll help you with your portfolio. I'll help you with your presentation, suggestion for website, because websites are very important. We'll maybe get to this later. One of my artists said a compliment, and I hope it's true. As an advisor with an artist, I try to nurture the artist. And it's very important to trust your advisor or trust your gallery and collaborate and be transparent and work together. So basically, that's what I do as an advisor. I take someone on.
Speaking of how and when you take someone on, I know a lot of the people watching are interested in knowing how you find new artists or what you look for before taking someone on.
It's a combination of many things. I think we've mentioned in some of the other webinars as well. Instagram now is the place, of course, where your work can be seen. It doesn't cost you anything to put the work up there. And I think I should say right away too, I don't mind artists sending me transparencies and approaching me. On the other hand, if I feel, I will answer right away. And if I feel that it's not appropriate, I will tell them and maybe even suggest an advisor or a gallery they can go to. But I don't mind being approached. So approach is okay. I go to a lot of open studios. I go to, as I said, the art fairs and Instagram. So any place where you can make your work visible that I can see it. But of course, the most important thing is recommendation. I know it's difficult as an artist because you want to be in your studio painting away or sculpting or something, but it's very important, I think, to be seen. And I think to go to openings and to speak with people and to just get your name out there so that somebody says to me, oh, I met so-and-so at the opening the other night. Do you know about her work? And I said, no, I don't. And then I go and look. So obviously, networking is very important as well.
Are there any particular shows or open studios or open exhibitions that you pay attention to just keep your finger on the pulse or find new artists?
It depends. Now I tend to go to the Discerning Eye, or the Wells Contemporary. I like to go to those that I know are properly juried, and then I'm going to find a good selection of work. Some of the others, I do go, and they are important. Some of the open studios where I'm at, in Frome and in Bath, I do go to those as well, because you can just never tell where the talent is going to be. So I support all kinds of levels, but I like to make sure that they are properly run and properly juried. If I like an artist's work, if they've approached me and I've said, yes, I think your work is great, I will definitely schedule a studio visit and go and see them, spend some time just to make sure whether or not I would like to work with them.
So the selectors of an exhibition and the standing of the exhibition really gives you confidence that it's a good investment of your time, really, to go have a look.
That's why I suggest that the artists enter these open calls, because there's nothing better than having your work juried, because that gives you a provenance, it gives you a quality.
You're an art market expert, so are there any trends or any developments or anything that you find interesting that's happening right now?
I think I'd be very careful with trends, is my advice, because trends come and go. And you can see, if you really go back in art history, when the abstract expressionists began, that was in response to Paris, and they wanted to move the art capital from Paris to New York. Then Rauschenberg came along with assemblage because they were anti-abstract expressionism. And then, I mean, you can just go on. So art moves in waves, doesn't it? And so you have the YBA, now figurative has come back probably because of David Hockney's influence. And then there's conceptual. The flavor of the month changes. So I'd be very careful. I think right now, in answer to your question, or at least I feel, the market is very diverse. I don't think there really is a trend or something that is better than another genre right now, which I think is very exciting because that's an opportunity for so many artists. And I think what an artist has to do is be true to themselves, really. And if you aren't trendy, as the word goes, you may be in a couple of months, or you may never be trendy, but then you can look at it and you're unique. Maybe you're not trendy. I don't think that one has to be that concerned with what is the trend. Because if you paint or sculpt or whatever, just to be popular, is that really being true to yourself? My big advice is to be genuine and to produce what you feel is your signature. And that takes time to find who you are and to find your message or your creative output into a cohesive group of work. And I do think it is important to be cohesive because that's what I look for. I look for continuity and consistency. Once you've found your way, unless you're Gerhard Richter, then you can do whatever you want.
One of the big questions that we receive a lot from artists is around pricing their work. Do you have any tips on artists who are wondering how to put a monetary value on their work, whether it's difference between works on paper and canvas or small scale and large scale?
The one thing I would say is be realistic in your pricing. I must say, I don't really work with student or emerging, but emerging is relative, so we have to talk about that too. But I'm not working with people straight out of uni pricing their work. So basically, once you have started and you've reached a plateau of the work that you're pricing your work realistically, then I think each time you sell, you can move up a certain point. But I really would advise, unless you are taken up by one of the major 10 galleries and your prices can go from 400 to 40,000 to 400,000 in a couple of years. I think just being realistic and perhaps going up in increments of 10% every time you have a good sale, going up and building and building. And you have to know your market. You have to know probably what other people are selling in your range as well, and then work accordingly.
You picked up on something that I'm keen to explore a bit, is this whole concept of emerging, and in particular, as this program is for artists of all ages and at all stages of their careers. I'm really interested in what your thoughts are about that, about the fact that you might emerge or you might find success later in life or later in your career.
Rose Wiley won the Turner Prize at 80 years old. So what's emerging? She'd been obviously in the business, a painter for a very long time, but that was when she finally got recognized. I don't think one should ever stop. I think age is not relevant, really. If you still have that spirit and you still feel you can contribute, create, I don't think you should let age be an obstacle at all. So I'm probably proof of it.
I love that.
Just keep going. Yeah, no, you can emerge at any point, can't you? Really. You may have been a housewife and you didn't have a chance to get into the art scene, and now you are. You're an emerging artist. Emerging has that negativity of being not talented, not creative, an amateur. And that's absolutely not true. You may have had to postpone actually finding your creative outlet, but there's no reason you can't at any age, I feel. Of course, there is ageism. Let's not say there isn't. There is. But I think you just have to overcome that and continue. That's the spirit that you want to have. And I think that that will shine through, because I think that's the other thing. Enthusiasm and commitment, that's really what you need. And a lot of artists who are just emerging straight out of school don't make it because they don't have that. And sometimes when you're mature and you can focus and really get a hold of your career, you'll be much better off, really.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch the full 1-hour interview and get top tips from an expert, then click the link below and join the Art Ladder mentoring program now. By joining the Art Ladder, you will get access to our full library of webinars with curators, collectors, critics, gallerists, and more. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this, and check out the description below for more free resources for artists.